Welcome to another Richard Head Longbows video. This time we'll be explaining the importance of setting up your longbow correctly with the hope of improving your shooting and giving you more consistent shots. We'll be explaining bracing height, what it is, what it should be and how to adjust it, the importance of nocking point on the string, and then the fit of the nock of the arrow onto the string itself. But first, here's a quick look at two methods we would recommend of bracing the longbow. Before you can use the bow, it has to be braced, and this involves getting the top loop up into the groove in the horn. There's two methods we normally recommend as being safe for the bow, less likely to twist the limbs. The first one I'll show you is the push-pull method. First thing to do is just untie this ribbon, which is just holding the string, stopping it coming off in the bottom of the bow bag when you take the bow out. What I do is grasp the bow firmly with my right hand, with the back of the bow facing me and the belly of the bow away. The bottom nock needs to go in to the side of your foot, not jabbed into the ground, but firmly against the side of your foot. With the right hand I shall be pulling, and with my left hand, with the palm of my hand against the bow so I can physically push and bend it, and then thumb and forefinger either side, so as I push and bend I will slip the string knot right up into the groove at the top, and then slowly relax and just look at the bow and make sure loop is firmly in the nock at both ends. The second method we recommend, and this is probably a bit safer for the bow, both limbs are bent evenly, not so much stress put on the archer trying to brace it either. It uses a length of nylon cord as a bracing cord. Simple length of cord, a loop in that end which slips over the top nock, doesn't actually need to go down into the groove you want to get the string into for obvious reasons. A loop at the other end that goes over the bottom nock, the string is already in that groove, so that's not a problem. Hold the bow, right hand holding the handle, the back of the bow again facing upwards and the belly downwards. Put your foot on the cord, in the centre of the cord, right onto the cord. Pull up with the hand so you're bending the bow, and then with the left hand just gently slip the string up into the groove and then gently relax, take the pressure off, and that's done. Take the cord off, slip the cord in your pocket so you don't lose it, and you're all ready to go. Bracing height is the measure of the distance between the string and the inside of the handle. Most bowyers will give you that they recommend for their bow. Ours, we generally reckon about 6.5 inches, and if you've got a bow that you don't know who made it, you don't know what the bracing height is, 6.5 is a pretty good start. In the old days they used the fist meal, which is the measure from that point to the top of your thumb. In my case this is 6 inches, so it's a little bit under what it should be. But as a rough and ready guide, put it on and you can see the string is below. So it's a long way from what it should be. More accurate measure is with a bracing height gauge. This is marked in inches from 6 up to 12. I've put a little bit of tape on there so you can see more easily where 6.5 inches is. That just clips onto the string like that and giving you the gauge. So it's at 6 inches at the moment, which as I said is what my fist meal is. It's too low, so we've got to adjust it. Need to unbrace the bow. Unbrace it. A simple way to adjust the bracing height is to put a few twists in the string. This is a new string, I haven't put any twists in it yet. The maximum number of twists is probably 1 twist per inch of string length, as a rough guide. So I'm going to twist the string in the direction that it's been made so we don't untwist anything. I'll put a load of twists in there and then we'll see whether that's altered the bracing height sufficiently. If not, we'll have to adjust the bowyer's knot, which I can explain in a minute. So that's back on. Let's brace it up. See what we've got. So that has brought it up, if you can see, to that line. So it's now at 6.5 inches. So that those few twists in it have brought it up enough. If we need to adjust it more, we would take the bowyer's knot to pieces, which I can show you, and adjust it. If you've not made a bowyer's knot before, it's a simple timber hitch. So we take it apart. So it's just a loop. So if we need to adjust it, we just move it 1/4 of an inch. If we want to lengthen it, we would move it the other way. So we form the loop, take the end back down in through the hole, so that that then will slide on itself, and then carry on twisting round 3 or 4 times. So if you need a major adjustment to the bracing height, you're going to have to do that. So that's that. So that's the bracing height done. With a new string, when you've shot a dozen or 2 arrows, it may well stretch again. The rope formation in making a laid-in string has an initial stretch in it, so you might need to check it after shooting a dozen or 2 arrows. Having sorted that out, we need to check and put on this string actually a knocking point. That's important to make sure that the arrow is knocked onto the string in the same place every time. Otherwise the elevation of the arrow is going to be different. If the knocking point is too low, you may find that the arrow skips up off your hand and ends up scratching the top of your hand. So if you've had that happen, chances are the knocking point is too low. Bracing height gauge along the top has some inches or 1/8 of an inch marked on them. I've put a little bit of tape again on the point I want to put the knocking point, which is generally 1/4 of an inch above a right angle measured from the top of the bow handle. So we slide that along so the gauge is just at the top of the handle, and then we will start our knocking point position 1/4 of an inch up from that. I'll mark the knocking point with dental floss. Pull off a length and then put it onto the string so that we're doing the knocking point below the arrow. So hold it there and then wind it to actually hold it in place, and then wind around the bowstring with the dental floss, going down the string about that much, about 1/4 of an inch, and then go back up again. So we're building up 2 or 3 layers of dental floss. That should be sufficient. And then, like the end of a serving, I'm going to finish it off by turning it under about 6 times. Pull that back up there and then wind it off on top of the dental floss you've already put on, and then pull through, and that pulls tight. Pair of scissors, cut off what you don't want, and that's that one done. The top one, put the arrow on, that gives you the position of the top. Again, another length dental floss, and this time we'll wind up the string away from the knock. So just start it, and then we can remove the arrow and carry on up again for about 1/4 of an inch, and then back down, and then finish off like we did the other one. And that's the nocking point done. So that's in the correct position, bracing height is correct, so string is fine. Next thing is to just check the fit of the arrow nock onto the string. If we take our arrow, it will fit on there obviously. The correct fit should be if we just tap the string, the arrow will fall off. It doesn't, so it's too tight. So we've got to adjust the plastic nock of the arrow to fit the string. The easiest way to adjust the fit of the nock onto the string is to warm the nock up in some very hot water. So a cup of boiling or just off boiling water, dip the nock in for a few seconds to soften the plastic, and then with the end of a spoon, or in this case the bracing height gauge, we should be able to just open the nock up a little bit so the plastic will be much softer. Carefully open it up and then we'll see if it fits better onto the string. Perfect.